Welcome to my channel. Have you ever wondered what might be lurking beneath your home, beneath the streets, the fields, even your bed? Something that has been hidden for over 5,000 years and may not be just a legend. Today, I'm going to tell you a story so twisted, so disturbing, that by the end, you might never look at the ground under your feet the same way again. Let's start in the year 2022. In the town of Khan Yunis, Palestine, a farmer named Nadal Abu Eid woke up to another normal day. Like always, he grabbed his shovel and headed to his land. But as he struck the soil, something was off. His shovel didn't hit soft dirt. It hit something hard, something cold. In a place where the soil had always been soft, this was unusual. He bent down and brushed the dirt away, and what he saw was the weathered face of a statue. It was the head of a woman, cold, lifeless, but her eyes deep and haunting, and on her head, a crown shaped like a serpent. Nadal had no idea he had just uncovered something that would link him to one of the most terrifying legends in human history. Later studies confirmed that what he had found was the missing piece of a long-lost investigation, a head believed to belong to Anat, an ancient Canaanite goddess. But Anat was no ordinary goddess. According to legend, Anat was born in darkness from the belly of a massive black serpent in a cave so deep no sunlight ever reached it. At birth, her body was covered in a thick black slime. Her eyes were like endless holes, empty and void. She killed the serpent that birthed her, and yet she became the mother of serpents. Serpents didn't fear her. They were drawn to her. They coiled around her body as if they were worshipping her. To the ancient Canaanites, Anat wasn't a symbol of balance or wisdom. She was the goddess of blood and war. Unlike the great goddess Athena, who believed in noble battle, Anat glorified slaughter. She reveled in chaos. The people of Canaan feared her deeply and did whatever they could to please her. And now we know the statue Nadal found was hers, over 4,500 years old. Once, she was worshipped. Now, she's buried, forgotten by most, but not by all. Let's leave Palestine and move to a tiny country south of Italy, Malta. It's one of the smallest countries in the world, with a population of just over 500,000. But it holds one of the strangest archaeological mysteries ever discovered. Beneath Malta lies a massive underground structure known as the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni. Built over 5,000 years ago, it predates the Egyptian pyramids. And while the pyramids still baffle engineers today, this underground temple is even more mysterious. Not a single brick was used. It was carved directly into solid stone, deep into the earth, level after level, with tools that shouldn't have been capable of such precision. And deep inside, a room they call the Oracle Chamber. If a man speaks in that room, his voice resonates at a very specific frequency. Modern scientists now say that frequency can affect a specific region of the brain, causing a trance-like state. But nobody knows what this room was used for. Was it for worship? Communication? Or control? Before we go further, let me tell you about a man named Emanuel Magri, a priest who began excavating the Hypogeum in 1907. What he found shocked him. Over 7,000 human skulls. But here's where it gets disturbing. Many of these skulls weren't human. Not fully. Their backs were elongated. Their eye sockets were slanted like a serpent's. And the signature suture line found on every human skull, from the forehead to the back, was missing. Emanuel documented everything. He published his findings. But just days later, he died. Strange, right? But before he died, he mailed a letter to a British museum. In it, he swore that he believed, no, he knew, that non-human entities still lived deep inside the Hypogeum. You think that's the end? Think again. Let's jump to 1940. A school trip, 30 12-year-olds and 2 teachers visited the Hypogeum. They were only supposed to explore the tourist-approved areas, but they disappeared. All 32 of them. Gone. No bodies. No evidence. Just gone. After this mysterious incident, access to certain parts of the complex was quietly restricted. Official details were scarce, and the full story remains the subject of speculation to this day. Over the years, some residents recalled hearing strange sounds from beneath the ground, echoes, murmurs, things not easily explained. The event slowly faded from public memory, but not for everyone. One story tells of a woman who worked at a nearby embassy. Out of curiosity, she ventured into the deeper, less accessible parts of the underground complex. When she returned, she shared unsettling observations, narrow tunnels, damp walls, and an overwhelming sense that the site was far larger and stranger than expected. Her description included the smell of metal in the air and unfamiliar shapes in the shadows. Her claims, of course, were dismissed. Officials maintained that the structure only had 3 levels. However, in the 1960s, 2 researchers published independent papers suggesting that the underground system might extend further than previously thought. Some even speculated about long tunnels beneath the island, possibly connecting to other ancient sites. Similar underground complexes have been discovered in various parts of the world, in countries like Egypt, Turkey, China, and France. These sites, often carved deep into solid stone, remain partly unexplored and continue to puzzle researchers with their size and complexity. Many of them are officially classified as burial sites, but their elaborate construction and depth continue to raise questions. Were they built solely for ceremonial purposes? Or did they serve other, more mysterious roles in the societies that created them? But why carve such intricate underground cities when you could just bury people in the ground? Now let me tell you why this is more than just ancient history. According to legend, the followers of Anat, especially the snake priests, believed that real snakes were the gateway to their god. They thought that if they could learn to communicate with snakes, they could speak directly to their deity. And to become a snake priest, the process was horrific. First, they would split their own tongue to mimic a serpent. Then, they would tattoo their skin in patterns resembling snake scales. According to some ancient legends, the followers of a mysterious underground order believed that true devotion required complete transformation, both inside and out. It's said they would undergo intense rituals meant to bring them closer to the serpents they revered. These practices were strange and extreme. Some stories describe initiates consuming carefully prepared herbal mixtures believed to offer protection from snake bites. Others say they trained themselves to move through narrow tunnels for years, eventually adapting their movement to a crawling style that became second nature. But the most unsettling part? These behaviors weren't limited to one generation. In some versions of the tale, children were raised in isolation and gradually shaped, both physically and mentally, to resemble the creature their elders considered sacred. The changes were said to begin from birth, creating a unique, insular group unlike any other. Far from being scattered individuals, these followers formed a well-organized, deeply secretive community. Artistic relics and carvings found across ancient sites, from Mesopotamia to the Mediterranean, hint at a shared symbolism centered around serpents, tunnels, and transformation. Some storytellers believe the legacy of this group continued far longer than most people assume. Over time, their secluded way of life, strange habits, and generational isolation may have led to noticeable changes, so much so that legends describe them as physically different from the rest of the world. And even now, some claim that a few remain, living in places no one dares to go, that there are still those who serve them in secret, maintaining ancient traditions, and protecting a mystery that was never meant to be uncovered. Want a modern example? Let's talk about Mike Mansholt. In 2016, this 17-year-old German adventurer traveled to Malta with his girlfriend. When she left, he stayed 5 more days to explore. That's the last anyone saw him alive. He was found days later, lying under a hollow rock 30 meters down a cliff. His body was undamaged, no broken bones. His bike and glasses were nearby, but his phone and backpack were missing. Autopsy? Quick and suspicious. Cause of death, accidental fall. But Mike's father didn't buy it. He ordered a second autopsy in Germany. What they found was horrifying. Mike's body weighed only 16 kilograms. His brain were missing. But he had no injuries, no trauma, no signs of a fall. Authorities said animals ate the organs, but the outside of his body was untouched. How could animals eat everything inside and not even scratch the outside? And where was his brain? They said the heat evaporated it. You tell me, does that sound believable? To this day, Mike's father is still fighting for the truth. But believers in this cult say he'll never get it, because Mike was a sacrifice to something ancient, to something that still lives beneath us. So now I ask you, was all of this just coincidence? Or is there a darker truth being buried, literally beneath our homes? Are deformed, snake-like humans still crawling through hidden tunnels beneath our cities? Or was this just something from the past, long forgotten? Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to hear your theories. And as always, thank you for watching until the end. You know I appreciate you. See you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe.